Kind of weird. I thought we wrapped up the stretch pass and I wasn't going to see your faces for a while, but here we are 1 week later talking hockey once again. This time, the Ontario Hockey League announces that, you know what, it's just not going to happen this year. The government, the pandemic, they're not going to be allowed to play. Are we actually surprised by this announcement, the official announcement? It's finally come out. Are we surprised by it, or is it just something that we've always believed was going to come? What do you think, Brandon?
I mean, we talked about it in the last episode there, the stretch pass and IceDogs Xtra, that just the logistics of the league being able to get a season in with all the other aspects that were going on behind the scenes, and with the vaccine rollout and everything going on in Ontario right now with the 30-day lockdown stay-at-home order. It was going to be hard for them to be able to negotiate something this late into the process. So for me, I wasn't really shocked about it, like we had mentioned in the last week's show, but it is unfortunate to actually have the formal announcement at this time.
Austin, the one thing they did say is that they were prepared for a formal announcement for the season, and then everything fell apart the night before this announcement was actually going to come. Do we believe that that was actually the scenario here at play and that they were that close to a season?
Like Brandon said, I wasn't really surprised that this announcement came. It just kind of seemed that that's the way things were trending with they kept delaying it and saying, oh, we're still working towards a return to play. We're still working towards a return to play. And like Brandon said, with all the outside circumstances, I just can't picture them being that close and having it fall apart all in one night.
David Branchin, yesterday, one of his news clippings, he said that they were working on a showcase series for all the players for the Canadian Hockey League, 20 players from each league going to play. Is this a good thing that they're at least possibly going to get to that, maybe in another province like Edmonton or Alberta or somewhere like that? Or does it really matter at this point, Brandon? What do you think?
I think it would be nice to showcase the prospects, but at this point, a lot of those prospects that we would have been showcasing are either on taxi squads or playing in other leagues like the AHL or overseas or things like that. So it would be hard to even get those prospects back, the ones that probably would have been playing in this tournament or in this game, what have you. So I think that they would miss out on a lot of the guys that they would want to showcase for something like that, who are currently playing higher levels of hockey at this time.
Do you think that the OHL guys not playing this year, the Quebec Major Junior guys played, the Western Hockey League guys played, a lot of the OHL guys didn't play. Does that put them at a disadvantage going into a showcase series like that where the other guys have been playing and they haven't been?
Yeah, in terms of the draft eligible guys for the NHL, they are a little bit out of a disadvantage. But when you look at like the bigger name guys, like the Brant Clarks, the Mason McTavishes, the Brennan Othmans, they were able to go over to Europe and get some hockey playing in. And a lot of those guys, they are going to be playing at the World U18s coming up. So while they won't have the full conditioning of the guys from the Quebec League or from the WHL, at least they wouldn't be going into something like this without playing competitive hockey at any level at all this year. So at least they have something for them.
I guess that brings us to the next thing in the hockey calendar, well, the Ontario Hockey League calendar, September. They're trying to focus on a full return to play in September. Do we believe that they have a chance at this? I'll start, Brandon. Do you believe that they have a chance at actually getting off the ground in September again, or are the kids just facing more of an uncertain future?
I think it's more uncertainty at this point. I think Austin mentioned on our last show that, maybe we see it closer to November, December, an OHL start like they kind of had projected for this year or last year, I guess you could say. That didn't happen. So for me, I think September would be, a target date that would be nice, but depending on the vaccine rollout, as we keep saying, and the waves of this pandemic becoming worse, I don't know if September is a viable option for the OHL at this point. And you don't want them to start getting into delays again like they did with last season. I don't think that would be a good idea either.
One thing about it just to conclude here, the Ontario Hockey League prides itself on being the best developmental league in the world. That's what they claim to be. That's why they get players to come from the United States and Europe to come play. But not playing this year, does that hurt the Ontario Hockey League's claim to fame in that regard? Will it cost some players? And does it matter, or will this just all be forgotten in a year of time from now simply because, they're back playing and the pandemic's in the rear view mirror? Austin, what are your thoughts on that?
I think on some level it's going to hurt their reputation a little bit. I don't think it'll be anything drastic. We've seen some players go over to Europe and play in the USHL, and they've had really nice years. But I think for the most part, it's just going to be a lost year. The OHL is still going to have that great appeal to these players because the OHL and the CHL is the best league in the world in terms of major junior hockey, and it's the easiest way to get drafted to the NHL.
Matt, if I will just say real quick, there, according to the OHL's website, they had over 175 graduates this year playing in the NHL, and that obviously didn't account for the guys that were called up from the American Hockey League this year. So over 175 graduates says a lot about what kind of a developmental league they are for NHL players.
It certainly does. And one thing we will know very soon is the next crop of guys that are going to enter the Ontario Hockey League. Perhaps after the OHL draft takes place, we can get back together and really discuss, dig in on who the IceDogs selected and what they could look forward to for the upcoming season.